Welcome to the 2022 Business Leaders Breakfast. I'm very lucky today to be speaking to Kristy Withers, founder of Incy's Interiors Orange, New South Wales. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No, it's great to sort of have you. So can you tell me a little bit about Incy Interiors? How did you start this business and what were you doing before you established this brand over 11 years ago?
Yes, we've just had our 11th birthday. So I started Incy prior to starting Incy. I had a career in corporate marketing and I was working for eBay Australia at the time, and went on maternity leave, had my son, so our team were made redundant, and I came back to work, had to build the team up again, and then I found out that I had to make the team redundant again. And so I just couldn't handle it. I kind of chucked a tantrum and said, I can't do this anymore. So I quit my job. Around the same time, my son was going into his first big boy bed. So I was traveling every 6 weeks to the UK or the US, seeing all these amazing products that are available overseas, but we couldn't get anything here in Australia. So after much deliberation and talking about it to anyone who would listen, my husband eventually said to me, shut up about it and do it. Just you do it. So Incy was born. That was 11 years ago, 5 products. Now we have, I don't even know, 1,500 different options available. So it's been an interesting ride.
No, it's always great to sort of hear about those journeys and what made people jump ship. And
I did need to be pushed. I don't think I would have done it on my own.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's great. So what do you think were the key challenges and key learnings that you learned through setting up Incy Interiors?
Well, they're endless, pretty much. I remember when I first started, so obviously I knew marketing, I knew online, but I knew nothing about products, logistics. So just finding a manufacturer, that was a nightmare in itself. And then I have no awareness of space. So on our first delivery, I had a 40-foot container ride and I'd rented a 1-car garage. So I quickly had to get on the phone to the company and say, could I get? And I ended up, I think we needed 6 or 7. I can't even remember now. So it was just like, I was so naive. I cannot tell you how naive I was.
Yeah, but they're the best memories there.
Yeah.
It's all part of that sort of startup fun there. You can laugh at it now. But over that sort of time, you're just going, no, this is my worst nightmare. So, no, that's amazing. So it's really huge in Australia now, and also an international brand, I believe.
Yes, yeah. So we're stocked across 9 different countries. We've got a distributor in New Zealand. We've just launched ourselves a website in the UK. But the plan is to go big in the next 2 years. Really go global properly.
Okay, no, that's really exciting there. So what's really your long-term dream for your business?
Well, look, this changes often, and I really struggle with having a balance and having a nice lifestyle, which was, part of the moving to Orange. So I grew up in Oberon on a sheep farm, lived in Sydney for 14 years, and then we decided to move back because I wanted my children to have a lifestyle like I had, which they don't, but it's better than it was in Sydney. So I really struggled to balance lifestyle as well as growth. So I flip on that often, but today I'm really keen to grow the company. So we're really primed for growth. We've got everything set up. We've got all our fundamentals in place, and now we just need to do it. Yeah.
So you get a lot of phone calls from prospective stockists from overseas going, we want your product?
Well, not so much stockists. We do get some stockists, but it's mainly customers. So customers come to us directly, and that's how we know which market we're going to next. We do definitely have some stockists who contact us. It's hard because it's not something you can just pop in a mailbag and, they can order 3 of and they can test it out. Like, we need to go really into a market. So we have to test it out properly. We need to be ordering 40-foot containers. an initial start for us is kind of a $300,000 or $400,000 investment. That's a test.
Yeah.
So we have to be sure of it to start in that market. But yeah, look, we get great feedback. I don't think it's unrealistic that we could potentially be a $30 million company in the next 12 to 2 years.
And all in sunny Orange there.
Yeah.
That's a great story. I think about you don't have to be in Sydney or Melbourne. You can do your business anywhere if you've got the right logistics and
we've got 3 offices. So we've got one here in Orange, one in Sydney, and one in the Philippines.
Okay.
Yeah, so we really are global.
Lovely. No, that's absolutely amazing. So your office in Orange is at the Hive co-working space, where we are today in the boardroom. Tell us what you love about working in co-working spaces.
Well, I'm an extrovert, so I get my energy from being around people. So I'm not great at working from home, especially if that involves homeschooling my children. That was very difficult. But no, look, I just really love it. I love that you can, I just love the interactions at lunchtime while you're making your lunch and chatting to people and just finding out about other businesses. And I just love learning and love hearing different perspectives. And so it just triggers me to think bigger and deeper, and I just love the interactions. So it feels alive in here. You would have felt it. We've been walking around, and there's nowhere really that we can go except for a boardroom that is quiet. And I just love that. I love the noise. I just get inspired.
And it's probably nice to get a different perspective sometimes, because you can go, well, why won't this work? And okay, this is the road hump. How do I get around it? So, and I think that's probably the big thing, especially when you're looking $300,000 for an investment. You have to be sure of it. It has to be perfect. So really, you're a working mum. How do you've already talked a little bit about trying to get that balance. How do you actually get that balance?
Oh, look, I think it's changed. My kids are kind of teens and pre-teens now. So, they can catch the bus to school. They can be left at home by themselves, or they can wait in the car while I do Pilates. So it's very different these days. It's a lot more flexible. But in the early days, I had a nanny, and I just honestly could not have. But I think it really depends. And I think people should be honest about the help that they have. Lots of people keep that a secret. And we had a full-time nanny. I needed someone who could help me do my groceries, pick the kids up and take them they had activities every afternoon after school. So I just can't leave the office. At the moment, my children are at school in Bathurst. So for me to pick them up, I leave here at 2:30. That's half a day. So that does happen now. We don't have any assistants, but the kids are old enough to, they can be on their own. They can walk. They get off the bus at the information centre, and they can walk here if they need to. So look, it's a juggle, like anyone. I get it right probably 25% of the time. The other 75%, I'm just winging it like everyone else.
No, that's great, because sometimes we hear people, no, it's so perfect that we all feel like we're just not up to that standard. So I have the sort of saying there. It's like we've just about left a child at a place there because we forgot they were so quiet. So I feel that pain and know exactly what you're going through. So what do you think's the biggest challenge that you faced at the moment for your business?
Well, our biggest challenge ever was 2018. That year was really tough. We had a container arrive. So we sell children's furniture. Probably should have addressed that up front. But we sell children's furniture, and we typically pre-sell. We try not to have long lead times, but sometimes we do. So typically pre-sell the product, and February 2018, we had a container arrive full of water. So we get one container of wood and one container of metal every month. So normally if there's something wrong with one container, we can fix it the next month and, fix it for the customer. Fortunately, we'd had a really big Boxing Day sale. So we'd sold out of the January container, the February container, and pretty much the March container. So we had wooden products that were wet and soggy. So we pretty much did close to $400,000 worth of refunds, and that killed our cash flow. And we were just starting to recover by about June or July, and then we had a 40-foot container fall overboard off the coast of Newcastle.
Oh, no.
Splash into the water. So that's obviously, so the issue with the first one was everyone says, oh, do you have insurance? Yes, of course we have insurance. But the insurance only covers the cost price of the product. And also the insurance company wanted us to like wipe mold off, sand things back, have them repainted, and then sent out to people. So people are putting their newborn babies in this, and I just could not sleep at night thinking that someone's baby was sleeping in a wet moldy cot that, you know, I saved a bit of money on. So I really battled with the insurance company. So that happened in Feb, and we did about 400,000 worth of refunds in probably March, April, and then in September they gave us $16,000. Yeah, so that was rough. Then when the one fell overboard, it was much easier, obviously, to claim because they can't dispute that. We couldn't find the container. So it was just a clear-cut case. And we had product already manufactured in our warehouse in Taiwan. So we said to our customers, it's okay, we'll ship this, we'll leave this weekend, it'll be here in 2 to 3 weeks, which everyone was really understanding about. Unfortunately, that ship broke down in Papua New Guinea for 8 weeks. So it really tested our stamina, my mental health, our brand. We really, you know, whilst people understood, they were still annoyed.
They still want their product.
They still didn't have anywhere for their baby to sleep. And their toddler didn't get to transition into a bed like they'd imagined. And so it was really tough. It was, and I absolutely seriously considered shutting the business down. Obviously we didn't, but yeah, that was by far our most challenging times to date. I'm sure we've got some more coming, but to date that was the worst.
Touch wood not. So
I think this is lemonade, so
go under Mayfield.
Yeah.
So and probably one sort of thing, being a brand expert that you are, everything's about your product there. If it's not right,
absolutely,
it could really damage your brand.
Yeah, and we took a massive hit that year, but it didn't impact hugely on our brand. There was some impact, and look, our sales dipped a little, but I think that people really appreciated that we tried our hardest to come up with a solution for them. So we were loaning products and sending seconds, and doing everything we possibly could to keep the customers happy.
Yeah, and that's probably the most important thing. Yeah, it's going. You can say how good you are.
Yeah.
But if someone else says how good you are, that's the best.
Absolutely.
Absolutely seen there. And people like to put pictures of their kids in your beds and all that.
Oh, yeah, yes, they definitely do. That is, look, Instagram's great for us because it's a very visual medium and it's very styled, and our products are beautiful, so it really lends well to that. So I don't even know how many tagged photos we have now. It's over 10,000 anyway. No,
and I think that's a great sort of marketing thing. Instagram. What else do you use in your social media?
So we use Instagram. We also use Facebook. So in the very beginning, Facebook was huge for us. So we were in the early days if you just put a post up and the product sold out. Those days are long gone now. Yeah. So we use Facebook, Instagram, and we do a lot on Pinterest as well, which is for a visual brand. It's really helpful. And we're just about to start on TikTok and YouTube. So they're new channels for us. And a bit different because we're all about looking beautiful and highly curated. And so we struggle with TikTok. We've done a couple and they haven't gone well because it's a really raw medium, and that's not what we're used to. So we've got a planning day on Monday to nail our TikTok strategy because we're not doing it well.
Yeah, and that's a hard sort of thing, trying to be everywhere and finding where your market is. So previously off camera, we were actually talking about TikTok. So what's the market for TikTok?
Look, I think that it's definitely broadening, and it is really it's where all the growth is coming at the moment. So I listen to a lot of podcasts. I read lots and lots of media, you know, mainly international. The US seems to be the furthest ahead on this. And, you know, there's lots of brands who are just blowing up just from TikTok. But I haven't figured it out. It's definitely a channel that we certainly haven't nailed. And everything I read just kind of shows that you've just got to be raw and scrappy, and the scrappier the better. Nothing should look good. It should be kind of have a funny angle. You know, there's all sorts of different things. So yeah, look, I am probably not the person to ask about TikTok. We have not nailed that yet, but give us a couple of months, and it's our focus for the next couple of months. So hopefully if you check back in a couple of months, I can give you a much better answer.
No, I think it's absolutely brilliant looking at different sort of channels there and go, well, where's my audience and where's my future audience, especially with the growth? Yeah,
absolutely. Well, look, I think the reality is that Instagram's not like, as Facebook isn't like it was when we first started. Instagram's headed in that direction. So, you know, we're highly reliant on that. So we kind of need to make sure we're knowing our other channels. But look, we do lots with email and Pinterest too, which is a channel lots of people don't actually think about. And we have a really sophisticated digital marketing strategy as well. So for paid ads. So we have a really complicated, we have a person who's just solely dedicated to doing that.
Finding the right channel, the right markets, and the right people.
Audience, the right, ad sets, the right creative. And, you know, I think the one thing that everyone can learn is that you just constantly have to test. So at any one time we have, you know, 14 to 15 different creatives in our test audience to determine what will work. And then once it works, it moves into our broad audience. So it is never ending. You cannot rest. You constantly just have to be changing, iterating and testing.
And I think that's a really good point, because a lot of people do go, oh, I've just used Facebook because that's where my market, and you've already told us that market's diminishing, that we need to look at other markets. So I really like that about the testing, retesting, and see what works.
Look, I speak to lots of people like, oh, I put up a campaign. I'm like, oh, how long ago did you do that? And I'm like, oh, 3 months ago. I'm like, oh, we literally do it. Look, daily is too often because it goes into learning, and it has to come out of learning to have results. But, you know, it's something that our digital marketing manager, he checks out every day. And we have the test creative in various different stages of that. So, it's something we do. He checks it daily, and we probably make changes every couple of days.
I think that's great to be ahead of that curve and see what works there, because they change the algorithms all the time then. So we've got a program called 10 for 10 where it's a leadership program where we have 10 mentors and 10 students. We'd love you to be a mentor in the future.
Of course, I'd love it.
So when you started, who was your mentor?
Look, my old boss was probably one of my key mentors, and I've never had a specific mentor along the way. And one thing that I learned initially, it was something I got really kind of worked up about. I was like, who's going to be my mentor? How do I find them? You know, and I think people take that really seriously. And I have people who will come to me and they've really worked themselves up about, you know, could you be my mentor? And I'm like, yeah, I totally can, but use me for what I'm good at. So what I have done over the years is never had a specific mentor. I have some peers who, like, I have 2 really good friends who have businesses similar size to me, similar audiences. And so I can just pick up the phone and say to them, what the hell, like, what's this? Are you seeing this? To get immediate feedback from. So I have peers, and then I have people who are specialists. So, you know, you might have a logistics mentor, and not technically a mentor, they're just someone that you have contact with who you can contact and say, hey, you know, freight costs have tripled in the last 12 months. Any ideas on when that'll come down? What can help with that? So I try, instead of having that one single mentor and putting all the pressure on that one person, I have more specialists who
it's
can
like
help me.
A panel of people that you can cherry pick who you want. No, I think
a free board.
I love it. I like that because one mentor won't get sick of you. Then you can sort of use the people for the specialities. What's the best bit of advice that you got from one of the mentors?
I think the main thing would be just the one thing I live by is to work hard and stay humble. That's kind of my motto, is just let's just keep working hard and stay under the radar. But I'm often asked for advice by people starting out, and the one piece of advice I would say to anyone is figure out if you've got a business or a hobby. Because so many small businesses, they're so passionate about it and they just love it, but then they actually don't like it once they try to turn it into a business, because maybe it's not profitable, or maybe they don't actually want to work on it that often. So that's the one piece of advice. You may love something, but once that becomes your life, do you still love it? So do you have a business or do you have a hobby? And if you have a hobby, keep it as a hobby. You don't have to make money out of it. Just enjoy it. If it's a business, make sure it's profitable. Figure out a way to make sure it's profitable. Don't think, oh, in a few years' time, I'll figure that out. Do that from day one, and don't launch until you know that.
No, that's great. So what gets you out of bed each day?
Well, my kids, obviously, and my team and our customers. I'm just, obviously, as you can hear from my voice, I just feel really passionate about it. I feel passionate about, doing what we do. I really love it. And I just also love helping women, which is something we talked about before, but it's my kind of personal passion.
And I think too, especially with this market and a lot of markets, I like to think I wear the pants in the family. I don't. The main buying decision is women.
Pretty much, yes. Look, I think that women do all the research, and they'll kind of make a decision and then present potentially alternatives for almost approval in some families, but then in others it's just, like in my family, I pretty much say, this is what we're doing. Are you cool with that? And look, that doesn't always go my way, but majority of the time it does.
No, that's fine. So really, we've got a section called the Fast Five there. So I'm going to ask you a few questions there. So your 3 dream dinner guests.
So it would be Sarah Blakey from Spanx. So she started Spanx. Who else would it be? Zoe Foster-Blake from Go To Skincare. Okay. And probably Elon Musk. Okay. Because whilst he is a really offensive kind of a dick, I just think he's a visionary, and they're really rare. And I would just love to try to understand him a bit more and how his brain works. Yeah. And also you'll probably get some extra Twitter sort of just whatever. It'd just be interesting to pick his brains.
And see, I really like that. So best cafe or restaurant in the region?
Ooh, that's tough. Do I have to pick just one?
No, give us a couple.
Okay, so my favourites for special events are Chard and Tonic. Yep. For kind of everyday, the ones, my absolute faves are Union Bank, Birdie, Groundstone, and Mr. Lim. I went there last night. And then kind of everyday stuff, I'm at Good Eddie every morning. Okay. Yeah.
So there's a fair crowd sort of there lining up there.
You can't just pick one. We live in Orange,
which is you've got so many, which is great to sort of have a shout out for. Totally. So what do you think one of the hidden gems in the Central West our audience should know about that?
So I grew up in Oberon, and there is a really special, lots of people in Orange actually don't even know about it. It's called Mayfield Garden. Yeah. It is amazing. I think it's the largest private garden in the Southern Hemisphere, and it's just epic. It's a hidden gem, I think, but it's getting more widely known. Yeah, no, I think it's beautiful. Yeah. And it's so big, it's amazing. It's amazing, yeah. And they've got a nice little restaurant there too. Yeah, they do. Yeah, I'm going on Sunday for Mother's Day for my mum. Very, very lucky. So what's your favourite holiday destination in Australia, or something that might be on your bucket list? Well, look, my go-to is Noosa. I just love how casual and easygoing it is. Like, it's literally, we just arrive and you can walk everywhere. It's like Orange. It's got amazing restaurants and food, but really nothing else to do. So you're kind of forced to relax. And look, on my bucket list, I would really love to explore more of like Central Australia. I've been to Ayers Rock and to Alice Springs, but I haven't really been to many other internal locations.
No, that's great. And what's been your favourite event while living in Orange that you've been to?
Well, I would love to say Forage, but I can never get tickets. So it's not Forage because I've never been.
I know, it sells out in 40 minutes or so.
But I think it's probably just Food Week. That's so special, and just all the different events that are on during that time. You know, it's really cool, and it's on a global scale, and it's really cool that we've got that here locally.
No, that's great. So that's our Fast Five. So what's your personal prediction? What's going to happen to the Central West over the next 5 years?
Look, I just think it's going to continue to blossom and grow, and I feel really excited about that. It's really cool. I just think it's, especially Orange, it just feels so entrepreneurial, and everyone's kind of got a little side hustle that they've got going on. And I just love how entrepreneurial and forward thinking, and people are just giving it a go.
No, that's amazing. So we've got a hashtag we use regularly, Central West is best. Tell us why Orange is a great place to live, and what do you want the world to know about Orange?
I just think, look, the world, well, Australia, I think already knows just about our food and wine, which is what is a standout. But I think it's just the community spirit. That's the thing that sets Orange apart. Everyone here is really supportive, and lots of people have got little small businesses that they're starting up, and everyone is really helpful and happy to support and, allow that business to grow and blossom. And that's the thing that I think is really special about Orange, and obviously our food and wine.
So if we want to find out more information about you and your business, how do we do it?
Well, we're obviously, I'm personally on Instagram, Kristy_Withers, as well as Incy, which is just Incy Interiors, Facebook, LinkedIn, all the channels, or drop into the Hive, and I'm here most days.
No, that's brilliant. So thank you for spending the time, and I hope our audience will learn a fair bit about your business and got some great business tips.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks again, Kristy.
That's okay. Thank you.